The reconnaissance units of the South Group continue to systematically destroy enemy positions. Two types of kamikaze aircraft destroyed buildings housing the Ukrainian Armed Forces UAV Control Center. A group of Brazilian and Colombian volunteers came under Russian fire while moving between positions in the direction of the port, but there were no casualties. The volunteers were subjected to intense Russian mortar and howitzer attacks in open terrain while changing positions. However, none of the shells hit their targets. All those tense moments were captured on camera.
Don't forget to leave your opinion about the video in the comments, subscribe, and like.
Tô vendo, vai lá. Corre pro bote. Dá o fuzil. Corre. Vai. Corre. Vai.
333.
Corre. Vai. Corre. Vai. Boca. Pro bunker. Aí, à direita. Ele tá vendo? Está vendo? Ele está vivo? Não matou? Merda! Pelusa! ¿Dónde estás?
Commemoration of the Russian Geran attack in the city of Samara, Dnipropetrovsk region.
Вот падла, глянь.
Russian Geran attack UAVs struck the deployment areas and UAV control centers of the 82nd Airborne Brigade and 36th Marine Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces in the Raiskoye and Dolgaya Balka settlements in the Konstantinovsky direction of the DHC. Don't forget to join our Telegram group. The destroyed mock-up howitzer seen in the video is part of the war strategy. In the image, a realistic mock-up howitzer made of plastic, plywood, or metal sheets has been hit and destroyed, most likely by a Russian FPV attack drone. The impressive way in which the mock-up scattered after the explosion, like a real artillery system, led the drone operators to believe that the target was real. Crimean paratroopers' Kornet anti-tank missile system destroyed Ukrainian armed forces equipment and personnel in the Sumy region.
Выстрел!
Central Group forces liberated the settlement of Nikolaevka in Donetsk, as a result of offensive operations. The images show the Ukrainian evacuation team. However, due to the intense Russian attacks, they are unable to move and carry out their work. At times, Russian artillery shells were about to hit the Ukrainian evacuation team. All those tense moments were captured moment by moment on the helmet camera of a Ukrainian soldier.
Мажор, Рус, прием. Давай уйобуємо, бо по нас пристрільно стріляють. Як прийняв? Добре, вихід! Цілий? Цілий вроді. Да. Треба уйобувати. Давай. Давай. Добре? Давай, побіг по одному. Тепер побігли. Давай, побігли.
Footage of an X-101 cruise missile arriving in Chernivtsi. Destruction of an enemy observation point in the Zaporizhia region by airborne forces UAV operators. New footage from the South Group's combat operations. In the Donetsk direction, another enemy UAV control point was destroyed with the help of FPV UAVs via fiber optic cable. Russian UAV operators first blew up the external antenna, then the basement where the personnel were located. UAV operators affiliated with the Southern Forces Group destroyed a munitions depot belonging to the Ukrainian armed forces by dropping an explosive device on it. Seversk direction. An FPV drone belonging to the South Group destroys an enemy vehicle and its driver in the direction of Donetsk. Russian aviation struck a position in Kherson with powerful FAB bombs. Attack units from the Central Group are preparing for battle. Soldiers continue their intensive training in the rear areas of the Joint Forces Operation Zone. In one of the training areas, conditions as close to real life as possible have been recreated. Fortified positions, enemy defense lines. The training is not for reporting purposes, but for real missions. These skills determine the outcome of the battle on the front lines. The images show 25 Ukrainian armed forces vehicles destroyed by FAB-500 strikes in the Mirnohrad region. Footage has emerged of the destruction of Ukrainian armed forces artillery in Donbass, carried out by the South Scouts. The Gvozdika self-propelled howitzer was scrapped as a result of successive FPV drone strikes. The Tu-S1 Gvozdika is a Soviet-made 1.22 mm self-propelled howitzer system. It is notable for its lightly armored and amphibious capabilities. It is still effectively used in modern wars as a fast, deployable artillery system. In the same direction, the mortar position of the artillery unit was destroyed. FPV drone operators of the 200th Brigade of the Independent Guards detected the UAV control point of the armed forces of Ukraine. The coordinates of the control point were precisely recorded and reported to the operators of the fiber-optic drone Prince Vandal of Novgorod. The drone operator slowly and in a controlled manner arrived at the target position and blew it up. On the same direction, a UAV control point was detected inside a bunker. This control point was also destroyed by fiber-optic operators. The epic destruction of the Ukrainian armed forces T-72 AV tank in the direction of Orakhovsky with a precision strike by an FPV UAV. Russian troops from the 3rd Battalion of the 242nd Regiment in the Donetsk direction threw powerful ammunition into the bunker of the Ukrainian armed forces. The bunker was then destroyed by a huge explosion. Russian fiber-optic drone operators, Prince Vandal of Novgorod, destroyed the American-made M113 armored personnel carrier used by the Ukrainian armed forces. Unlike other drones, fiber-optic drones are almost impossible to stop with technology. In other words, signal interrupters or other devices cannot stop fiber optics. But if the drone's connection to the cable breaks, communication is lost. This is very difficult to do because the cable is very thin and a human cannot see it on the battlefield. If you notice, the back doors of armored vehicles always remain open after they are abandoned. This makes it easier to destroy the vehicle. Footage of clashes on the border with Krasnoyaruzhsky district of Belgorod region. Russian drone operators destroyed the German tank Leopard 2 near the settlement of Petrushka. According to the plan of the armed forces of Ukraine, expensive German tanks were to participate in combat operations already on Russian territory. But drone operators did not allow this, and the tanks were destroyed. In the village of Ulyanivka in Sumy region, 31 kilometers from the Russian state border, military equipment of the armed forces of Ukraine was spotted during aerial reconnaissance. A loader for S-300 missiles was destroyed using Lancet barrage ammunition. Russia has been conducting missile strikes and drone attacks to target Ukraine's S-300 batteries. The S-300 series is a long-range air defense missile system that provides an effective defense, especially against aircraft, cruise missiles, and ballistic threats. Pokrovsk direction. A German Leopard 2A4 tank was hit by FPV. It was intercepted on the approach to Pokrovsk. The Leopard tank was on its way to work on Russian positions, but Russian drones blocked its movement. At night, A VT-40 drone was sent in, and the tank was finished off. Operators of the 14th Guard Special Forces Brigade of the Vostok Group hit basements and temporary deployment houses with drones. Be sure to leave your thoughts on FPV drones in the comments. Don't forget to join our Telegram group. Kherson direction. UAV control points of the armed forces of Ukraine were detected. Russian reconnaissance drones reported the coordinates of the detected point to the attack drones, and the attack drones immediately set off. The first drone broke the door, the second drone and the third drone entered the building and destroyed the checkpoint. Another drone checkpoint was detected in a village in the same direction. The checkpoint was hit and destroyed. The movement of a personnel was detected inside the destroyed house. A drone capable of dropping ammunition dropped the ammunition. And then a drone ready to take off in an open area was shot down and destroyed. And in another village in the same direction, a house used as both a temporary deployment point and a drone control point was also detected. Reconnaissance drones monitored it for a long time and reported what was happening. Then the drones mobilized for the attack. They moved quickly directly towards the house and hit it. The fiber-optic drone Prince Vandal of Novgorod detected the temporary deployment of a group of Ukrainian armed forces in the settlement of Pyatikhatki in the Zaporizhzhia region. Under attack, the infantry quickly left the position. The infantrymen wanted to hide in another house. However, Russian drones were following them, and they were attacked by a Russian drone in the other house where they were hiding.